to another Coach Dave Academy lap guide with myself, Kieran Harrison, back in the BMW GT3. For this week, it's week 5 in Watkins Glen boot. So without any further ado, let's get straight into it. There we go, that was the full speed lap around Watkins Glen. I'm now at the start finish straight, just about to start the lap on the replay, and I'm going to talk you through all the driving lines and track limits, curbs and things to look out for on the lap. So just heading down here, down the start finish straight, we're looking at these numbered boards on the left hand side, mainly the 300 board. Just braking just after we go past it. It's when the car's actually in line with it, but from your perspective in the cockpit, it's just after you go past it. You just brake in here and you can't see it anymore. Down 2 gears to third, and you want to turn in relatively late. And with this red and yellow curb, we're trying to get as close to this sort of second tier as possible without getting on it. If you get on it, it lifts the car up too much, and then when it goes down again, I think it bottoms out, and then you end up understeering. So this way allows you to take the maximum curb without affecting the car too negatively. The track limit here on the exit is 2 wheels on the red and white curb still, so we just about get away with it here. And then you can just straddle this all the way along, so you can turn in late here and use a bit less steering lock to carry, or scrub a bit less speed onto this long straight. Those two left-rights are flat out, so no need to worry about that. Then heading up this big straight, looking again at these numbered boards. I'm braking just... My reference when I'm driving is I'm looking at the 400, and just after I go past it, I'm starting to brake. They're sort of in between. I'm just about to start braking, but you can see that actually this white line is pretty optimally positioned to be used as a brake reference if you preferred. So we're in 5th gear at this point on the straight. We don't go to 6th gear. We just go down 1 gear to 4th. And all you're trying to achieve through this chicane is you want to try and cut this as much as possible without touching the wall. So the closer you can get to the wall, the better. For this first apex, you can see I get quite close, just slightly on the grass, but that's fine track limits wise. And then you want to get it nice and far to the right before you flick left, because you don't want to take too much of this curb, because again, like in turn 1, as you come off it, because it's like an abrupt drop, if you have too much of the car on it, it bottoms out and then you understeer. And it's the same for this second part, so you just want to get maybe half the curbs. There, I get quite a lot of this curb, but you can take more without getting a track limit warning, but it doesn't seem to help the car rotate, so I prefer just to take about half the curb. Same here, and then just taking as much of this curb as I need on the exit. You can actually cut a little bit more than this, but I'm trying to avoid the grass because it ends up slowing the car down. So we're just allowing the car to wash out a little bit, sort of to the middle of the road. I'm in 4th gear at this point. and I don't downshift for this corner, but you can into third, but I prefer just to hold it in fourth. So you can see here I'm lifting and braking very gently just to try and I find that because you saw on the limit through here, if you brake hard, it ends up overloading the front and then you understeer. So I'm just really lightly braking to let the speed bleed off so that I can still get into this inside curb. And once I get back on it, I know that's where the grip is and I can get on the power quite quickly. Because as much as you get on the power here, way before you can see the exit of the corner, you can see I'm picking up the power here, and then the corner continues all the way around. You just got to trust, because even if you do run out wide here, you can take quite a lot more of this than I do here. You just don't have to. Just make sure you get back on before you cut the grass too much if you end up running wide. Then we're heading back across the right hand side. I don't have a braking reference for this corner. I'm just looking at the apex and sort of judging the distance, but if you need a reference, it's just after we go past this motel sign up here. So you obviously can't see that in your peripheral vision, but if you could kind of remember roughly where it is and just time it as you go past. I can see here, you can't really see it. I'll just turn the camera to the side. We're pretty much in line with it just as I start to brake. But yeah, just down one gear to third here, and I like to. It's sort of turning in a little early, just to try and get down to this inside curb, because the track grip seems to be far superior on the inside here. So you don't want to turn in too late, because then you'll just end up not getting in at all, because the track is less grippy on the outside. So again, this is another long corner. We're getting on the power before we can see the exit, but there's a nice wide curb here to use. Just about getting back on there before the grass. That's all you've got to do here. Use all of it, and then just quickly get back on when you're exiting the corner and get back across the left-hand side. This one's got a nice reference. We've got the numbered boards again. So I'm looking at the 200 board, and just as we go past it, starting to brake. So as you can see, this is much like turn one, where I'm actually braking in line with it, but from the cockpit perspective, it feels more like you're approaching this 100 board. So just roughly as the car's going past this board, I like to brake. I like to use third through here. You can definitely get away with second, but what I prefer to do is turn in late and then either get a cutback exit, or you can see here I don't actually get back to the inside, which that allows me to have a higher minimum corner speed than otherwise, which allows me to use third gear basically without bogging too much. Because I just find that it's such a weird corner with the camber and the uphill nature of it, that being in third makes the traction so easy. So you can see I get in here and then I'm already picking up the power really hard, and I'm flat out way before the exit. The engine to use all this track here as well. So that's really a preference thing. You could turn in a bit earlier, get down to the apex more proper and use second, but then you have to think about the exit a bit more with the traction. Or I find this to be a more consistent approach, just to use third and just let the traction come to you by using that gear. Approaching this corner, again looking at this 200 board. I mean, it's behind the barrier, so you can't actually read the number, but it is the 200 board. Just as we get in line with it, again, just as it goes out of view from the cockpit is when I'm starting to brake. I go down 2 gears here to third, and we're turning in quite late. I don't like to get too much of this curb, just because it kind of turns you out the corner a little bit. It's more of a preference thing. You can take it, but I just prefer not to, just to carry a bit more speed on the flat tarmac. And this is where the track limits at this circuit really become a bit of a joke. If turn one wasn't bad enough, because we can literally just use all of this. This is not penalised as long as it's the grass that's the track limit. So you can gain so much time here by using all of this beyond the curb. So make sure you do. The only thing you got to do is get back on before the grass, and that's not hard to do. And then we just move back across the right hand side for this uphill left. And I don't have a visual reference for this, but quite a good way of getting the braking point right is if you hold it in third instead of upshifting to fourth, just as you hit the rev limiter is when you brake, or just as you're about to hit the rev limiter. So it kind of is quite a nice audio cue of when to brake here, as long as you get a reasonably okay exit out of the previous corner. Obviously this doesn't work if you were side by side or something, or you were compromised. But yeah, just braking reasonably gently, trail braking in, down to second gear, the only time on this track for me that we go below third gear. Getting some of this curb, and then getting on the power nice and early because the track widens on the exit. You can see it's slightly wider here, and then it narrows again. But as long as you make sure you feed on the throttle nice and progressively so you don't get any wheel spin, and then get into third relatively quick, you can get a good exit. This one is nearly flat. I'm turning in just before this 100 board and flat at this point. And then just after I turn in, I'm lifting just a little bit. I never come all the way off the throttle. It's just a little bit, and back on the throttle. And again here, the track limit's really wide. I'm not sure exactly where it is, but you can definitely go all the way over this curb if you have to, but it isn't really optimal because you then struggle more to get back to the left-hand side to take the final corner. So I just like to maybe keep my left two wheels on this curb. The rest of the car can go over because then I've still got time to get back to the left, as you can see. Again, this one I don't have a visual reference. It's more just the way I'm just looking at the corner, and when it feels about right, that's when I'm braking. It's kind of just there. I just start to turn the car to the right. You can see my wheel movements. I'm going left at the moment, then straight. Just to start to go right, I'm starting to brake. This one I couldn't decide which gear to use. I think I ended up preferring third, but you could use fourth, and it was okay. It worked just as well. It was just about as quick. I just found it a bit easier to be more consistent on the exit in third. I found that it was harder to get the car to rotate in fourth. So I just found it easier to judge the speed, really, so I knew when to get on the power using third. So again, just getting down to the apex. You can use this curb if you need, but you don't have to. And then you want to run right up to the wall on the exit. You can see I get quite close here. It's a safe distance. You can get away with 0xing the wall a few times in a race. But make sure you use all the curb just to widen the track as much as you can. And yeah, that brings us back to the start finish and to the end of the lap. So there we have it. That was the complete lap guide around Watkins Glen for the BMW M4 GT3 for IMSA Week 5. The key thing with this track, I think, is just really to maximize the exits and keep your momentum up. As I said in the guide, I only use second gear once, so it's quite a high-speed track with long corners. So you don't really need to worry about traction too much. It's more about maintaining momentum where you can. But yeah, thank you for tuning in to this lap guide. Coach Dave Academy does these every week, a variety of different cars and tracks. And for anything else you need to know about Coach Dave, just check out the website or the Discord and you'll find everything you need there. But until next time, that's it from me. I'll see you in the next one.